welcome to the DAO Global Virtual Summit. This is panel 4, Moving the DAO for Socioeconomic Equality. I'm Rachael Langley, Chief HR Officer at the GAP Partnership, and I'm delighted to be with you here today talking about this. I'm joined by 3 inspirational leaders, and welcome to the DAO Global Virtual Stage. We have with us Collette King, who's the Chief People Officer at Studio Retail, Helen Webb, Chief People and Services Officer at the Co-op, and Zareena Brown, Chief People Officer at Britvic. I don't know about you guys, but for me, I think social mobility has stagnated in recent years, and disappointingly, there's been little improvement in closing the opportunity gap between those people who were born privileged and those people who were born disadvantaged. So it's vital that we try to focus on those social disparities and that we address those as organisations, particularly as we look to bounce back from the impacts of the pandemic. And then I think if we all focus on creating a socially economic diverse environment, then as employers we can better attract, access and retain new talent pools and bring in different perspectives, different expertise and experience into our workplace.
I think, there's been a lot of research and evidence over the years around the disadvantages of growing up in deprived areas, particularly the impact of low incomes and low aspirations. So it's an interesting question because the longer you've been at an organisation or working through your career, the further away from that kind of lower socio-economic kind of base you are, if you're able to grow and develop in an organisation. So but saying that, there's definitely examples of people right through our organisation who've come from, very working class backgrounds, single parents, areas of deprivation. And, I'd include myself in that in terms of having a really difficult, upbringing and school and that single parent and being able to grow and develop thanks to the organisations that I've worked for. So really feeling invested in, supported through professional qualifications or other training and development. And that's where the benefits are. I think it's no different to any of the other diversity strands. It brings innovation and different thinking, different life experiences, and all of that blends together to stop that groupthink where you've just got groups of very similar like-minded people.
So in terms of what impact it's had on us, it goes without saying that for us to be the company that we want to be, we can only do it if we have really diverse talent, because it brings that fresh thinking, that difference. And, without a doubt, the focus we've had on social mobility has enabled us to bring those very different thoughts, ideas and experiences into our business. And ultimately, that makes us stronger, but also it represents the communities we're in. And it also, ultimately we want to represent the consumers who will be attracted to and buying our brands. So it's really important that we have that diversity in our business. So, in the broadest sense, it's making us more productive, it's making us more successful, and we're able to look at that qualitatively and kind of quantitatively. But I guess this all boils much more down to a much more human story, that it makes a difference at an individual level. And again, I'm sure we've got lots of examples, but for example, one of our engineering apprentices, Mike Cunningham, he joined us in 2013. He grew to become our maintenance manager in our Beckton manufacturing site, and now is a research and development manager. So just one success story, and again, there's many of them, that at the end of the day, yes, it makes us more successful as a company, but also, it is making a real difference to individuals as well.
Yes, albeit that's a very big subject. I'd just like to say what Zareena said around, we've got to remember that at the end of all this are real individuals and real people having, real careers. And I think that's something that at the top of the organisation you can so easily forget. So it was wonderful that you said that. It really resonated with me. When I look at sort of our journey and what we've been doing, I think when it comes to nuts and bolts, we've done a lot of what Zareena said. So we've done a lot around data. and trying to collect as much data as possible about who works for us. We've been really clear about processes and done some significant work with a business called The Clear Company to remove barriers to entry where possible in our selection processes. So, you know, right at the start of somebody's career, you don't put in qualifications that actually aren't necessary. We talk about aptitude and we talk about talents, and we try to recruit people in that way. We've also done a lot of training right on the front line around inclusive hiring, and particularly with our resourcing team as well in the centre. And what we're trying to do is make sure that we've got the tools to support a wide range of candidates, including putting in place adjustments to support those who've got limited access to technology and wider needs. And I think that is a topic that's very current at the moment when we're talking about, you know, children of households where access to the internet or access to any kind of laptop, iPad technology is really difficult. So you've got to look at all parts of your process and see if that you can remove barriers, and do enough listening to understand what those barriers might be. You know, here at the Co-op, our vision is about cooperating for a fairer world, and that means giving access to great jobs and employment and careers. And we're lucky enough to be able to do that. We operate as a food store in 3,000 locations across the UK. We operate as a funeral care business in 1,000 locations across the UK. And then our online businesses are based predominantly in sort of Manchester, Bristol and Sheffield. And then we've got distribution centres as well. So we have multiple opportunities where we really can talk about how do we create sustainable communities, and that is really important. And community resourcing is important to us as well, particularly through the pandemic, because we have had opportunities, particularly at the beginning. You know, we recruited something like 5,000 people in the space of sort of 3 weeks. So we've always got the opportunity to give an opportunity to somebody who perhaps hasn't had access to employability before.
Yeah, I think sometimes we think that there's things that we can do to help, particularly during the pandemic, that might seem really small, but actually have a huge impact. So being able to use your equipment and laptops and things that, you know, we have kicking around for people at home to be able to use for their kids so that they can have a better experience of homeschooling. There's lots of stuff that we can all do, from very small things to very big things, particularly as you say at the moment, and really being mindful and supporting our people as they navigate through the uncertainty of whatever the government decides to do in terms of helping our children get back to school and back to normality.